Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. Okay, I'm going to start covering some of my journal covers. So I've gone through my cupboard and pulled out some fabrics that I think work with this particular theme. Here's my picture as a bit of a reference. So very muted, gentle sorts of tones. I am drifting into the pinks a little bit with some of these, but I think it can handle it. So I've picked up some linen, and I'm thinking of pairing it with a little check and a stripe and a floral. So that's just a good classic combination. I don't think you can go too wrong if you cover the category of floral, check and stripe all together. I think it'll come up beautifully. So that's the first one I'm thinking about doing. Then I've got this spare little stripe. It's a complete contrast to what's there, but it does pick up the yellow that's down in this check. So that's sort of the random piece that I'm going to throw into that colour combination. So I'm thinking that'll be a bag journal. So I might just grab my bag journal and just throw that on top of there. Laces and things like that I'll go through in a moment, but I think there'll be lace and doily and things with it. It just sort of softens it. I'm thinking a botanist's journal in the back of my mind, but a lady's botanist journal. So I'm sure when Edith went home, she may have picked up some needlework or crocheting or, you know, something of that ilk. So I'm thinking of drifting a little bit of that through the journals as well. So the next one I picked up, there's a lot of green in Edith's books, and I was looking at this daffodil. This green leaf here is all sorts of shades of green, so it gives you a lot of scope to go from something that's quite a bright green through to something that is more of an olive green. So I definitely want to do a bit of green. There is pink in her work. Let me just grab the book. I flipped through this a few times. See, there's a pink flower there. There's another one. I opened up a page. There's purples, a bit more pink. So she's there. That's the one I looked at, that one there. And then I found that fabric. So I'm liking the look of this one, and then we're into those greens again. So that is going to be one of the covers. I haven't put a third random with it. I haven't really found anything that I really love, so it might be the third element might be a lot more lace with this one. So that's going to be one. Then I picked up these three. This guy is a bit of a random. I sort of just grabbed it because it might make good snippets or something like that in one of them. So I'm just going to keep that to one side on my table. This one here I love. This is going to be beautiful. It really feels English to me. And just to break it a little bit, I picked up this little guy just to freshen it, because I don't want to be too moody on all of them. I want to see if I can go from the real brown, burnt sorts of tones into something a little bit more fresh. It'll be quite an interesting exercise to see how far we can push the boundary of the colour spectrum with these particular projects. That's why it's great to do 3 or 4 journal covers in a row, do them all together and really switch them up, make them all completely different. It's quite an interesting exercise when you go to choose all your fabrics. So that is going to be something. Then I've got these Tim Holtz fabrics. They've come from deep, that one's not, sorry. That one I got at Spotlight, I think, in Australia, which is not bad for a look-alike sort of fabric. It's definitely got a nature theme. So that's got potential, and it's at least a fabric that, you know, was quite affordable. So I could probably even get a little bit more of that. So I am tempted to use this, but there's no red through Edith Holden. It's completely different sorts of tones. Unless there's something there I can sort of isolate out, like something like that. I don't know. The daisy. There's a red. I don't know. I'm going to keep it to one side because it might be just that fabric that you add that lifts, you know, lifts your piece. I'm just not sure. It might be too crazy busy. I have a butterfly sample. I don't think this is, I think this is Tim Holtz as well. Coats, yeah, Tim Holtz. It's part of the range that he brought out a few years ago. I think it is still available, especially in the smaller craft shops. I know Patchwork Inn or Dewdrop Inn at Harvey Bay is where I got most of these fabrics, but I have seen them in my travels in all sorts of shops around southeast Queensland. So they're definitely still online. If you haven't got any and you would like to get some for your stash for a rainy day, I'd highly recommend that you get in and do it, because these are going to just disappear one day, and I think you'll regret it because they're just such interesting pieces. This one here is another Tim Holtz out of that range. So once again, it's probably suitable, but maybe a little bit muddy. I don't know. I can't decide. It's certainly got some nice elements to it, but we'll keep it out because it might be just that pop of interest that just makes the journal. So I'm going to hang on to those three as, you know, just grab them if I need to, you know, theme it a little bit, because they're definitely in that category. This one's gorgeous, and I wouldn't mind doing something with this one. What have we got? Oh, look at the birds. Oh, goodness me. Oh. Look, well, I've gone quiet. Oh, look at that. I wonder if that's big enough for the big journal cover. Let's have a little look. I don't like wasting anything, so the fact that it's on the side like that. Oh, look at that. And that fabric that's left over we could use throughout the journal just to sort of really get that theme going. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So we could do the birdies on that. If that went right to the edge, those birds, even if it was on the inside cover. No, not the inside cover, because I usually like to put a pocket or something interactive on the inside cover. I'm just, let me zoom up a bit. Hang on a minute. I'm just pretending that that's wrapped. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, I think that's a definite. What I'm going to do now is cut out that piece of fabric. Decision made. First decision made. I've got so many nice fabrics here. I could make probably 10 journal covers. Let's get this one cut. Done. Decision made, guys. How exciting. I might go a little bit further, because if I make some decorative pieces, at least I've got, you know, a decent piece to work with. If I do some little ruffles, or I don't know, who knows. Just going to include some of those little bird cages as well. All right, so let's get rid of that. What about the back cover? What have we got next on this ream of fabric? Let me just open that a little bit more. So we've got a lot of leaves. Where's the back cover? Yeah, I think that's a definite. Be a few bird cages and a big leaf. I like how it's got the blue in it. That really looks good. So I'm going to cut this one as well. These fabrics don't tear real well. They're very soft. They don't have that coarseness about them that you need to give things a good rip. I won't go too excessive on the side cut. Okay, at least we can put a fabric away. Sometimes even just having your fabric out as your inspiration, your colour palette, is not a bad thing. Even if you don't use that particular fabric, it's just one of your favourites. Grab it out and throw it on your desk and just have it there through the making of your journal or your needlework. It will keep you often focused on what you're trying to do. Let's say that that's your inspiration, the blues into a little bit of black with a hint of red. Just keep it on your desk and just keep referring to it. It's amazing how much it keeps you focused on what you're doing. Look at those with it. That even works. So I think this fabric might have to actually stay out as well, because it sort of works with that combination as well. They all sort of complement each other, bar the ones that are going into the green. So what I might do is I'm just going to sit all of these fabrics to one side on my desk and leave them there, because I think they might be useful in all the journals. So that's like my colour palette to keep me focused. Or if I want something a bit textual, not textual, text orientated. Okay, let's just pop them behind me. Have a little look at that. All right, so what have we got so far? We've got the big cover is going to be this fabric with the bird. So I do like that. So that's an easy win. So we can glue all of that and cover it, at least the cover anyway, and get that drying. This next one I think I'll do in the olive. Yeah, and I like how it's got that little hint of blue through it. So I think that will be an olive cover. Yeah, that's going to be really nice. And then maybe this appears in the inside of the cover, but we'll see. So let's put that one to one side and cut the fabric for this one. Now, being that I've only got, it's in half, if I cut two there, I've really jiggered this piece up, especially if I want to cover a spine with it. So I'm going to cut it this way. Therefore, I've still got a decent piece left to cover another book if I decide to. Oh, this is just the best part of journal making, I think. Creating the journal itself. It's like it's come alive when you get this stage done. Will I cut that off? Don't think I need to. By the time that comes across and that folds in, yeah. I'm just gonna put down the scissors. So I've got a little piece here we can put away. Wish I knew the name of that. If anyone knows the name of that fabric, I think I got that in Maryborough at Patchwork on, it's not Palace. Oh, goodness me, it's the name of the street. Oh, the Maryborough girls, Southeast Queensland girls, they'll know where I'm talking about. Oh, it's like an Aladdin's cave in there. Just love it. So if I go to Maryborough, have to go there. And she does up these packs that are just pieces this size, but in all sorts of floral treatments, and like you get probably 15 different pieces of fabric. Some coordinate, some are quite random. Yeah, beautiful. Just beautiful. I might actually start gluing these down before I get myself too far into, because these are quite simple. They're going to be just glued and adhered, you know, to the journal, where the bag ones is sort of a bit more of a collage feel. So I think I'll get these out of the way. So probably the easiest out of all of them. Just going to use my glue stick. You could use PBA, but I don't need to. I've used this so many times with calico and these types of fabrics, and it does glue really well. It doesn't move, but you've got to get a good covering. Like, take your time and get 2 to 3 layers. Starting to dry quite quickly, but it's not drying, it's just tacky. And it's because I've got that painted surface underneath. It's really, really gripping. So let's flip that over. And then flip it again. And let's just ease out those creases. I was going to get up and iron the fabrics, but I thought, oh, they never stay, those creases, once you do this technique to cover a piece. Oops. So I'm just going to now trim that off. Now these are going to have an open spine to some degree, an added spine. So nice, and it'll create quite an interesting feature on the journal, I think. That's the plan anyway. Whether we do tabs or a single piece, I don't know yet. A decision to be made another day. Baby steps. I'm trying to slow my head down because I've got, you know, constant ideas pouring in. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. But, you know, it just gets out of hand. And it suddenly start not sleeping. Well, that's no good. So let's just get the basic colour schemes onto these pieces. How we embellish them and where we go from there, well, we'll do that another time. But let's just get the bases sorted, the base fabrics, the colour schemes selected. There's so many nice fabrics and so many combinations. Like, you don't even have to have a lot of fabric, but the combinations that you can get by pairing up fabrics, oh, it's so much fun. There we go. That's nice. Now we'll just trim that a little bit. A little snippet for something. Or not. Who knows? Okay. I'll just pop that to one side. Let's do this one now. Let's cover to the inside. I'm just going to turn that up. Doesn't this remind you of when you were a kid covering your school books? I used to love it. I used to line them all up and cover them in contact fabric, paper, whatever I could get my hands on. I used to love it. Little did I know then that this was going to be something that I could do as a hobby, you know, and hold my head up high, as they say. It's one of those very interesting hobbies because we can do so much with them. You know, they're just the journals. Even if you're not a junk journaler or even a journaler that writes in them, there's so many people that do. So even if you make your journals and you just gift them away, it's just, some people get a lot of therapy out of writing. Not for me. I probably need to. Would do me good. I'm going to grab a wet one because I've got glue on my surface here, and it's heading for trouble. And the other thing I like about the journal making is not only the fabric side of things, because that's my first passion, is fabric, is you can bring in needlework to it, even if it's just a little stitchery, just little bits through the journal. It's a lot of fun. Did you see what I did with my corners there? This is how I do my corners. I cut out the little piece, but I didn't go all the way to that folded edge, and then I come back out to the main edge. So it gets rid of a heap of bulk. So I've done the same this side, if you can see it. So it's just like nibbling out a little square. Then you can fold that in, and there's hardly any bulk there on that corner, and your corner is protected just with that one move. So then I just put a little bit of glue in there and on that edge, and that's purely just to hold it, because art glitter glue adheres so quickly. It's stuck. While I was setting up for this video, I saw that Sonia Steptoe, she's an Aussie girl as well, had put up a video. And I try and watch Sonia's videos as much as I can. But there's just so many people that I like watching that it just gets out of hand. But Sonia popped up. And whenever she says in something in the title, like the way just talking is what's in this one, it always catches my eye, because she is a lady that is full of knowledge. Like this girl is astounding in what she has in the way of crafting abilities and knowledge. She is well worth a watch. If anyone's out there and doesn't know who I'm talking about, let me grab my phone, because I actually stopped the video to start filming. Making and Having a Chat. Let me bring up her site. That's her there. She's in parks in Australia. And this is the video, Making and Having a Chat. It goes for 50 minutes, but it's really interesting because it all starts off where she hears a rumour that they're getting a spotlight in their town. For the Americans, that's our Michael's equivalent. And for a large country town, that would be really, really exciting for girls like us, because you can just get a lot of your supplies from those guys. Anyway, Sonia was hearing this rumour around town, so she thought, you know, that would just be amazing. And I think she even mentioned it on an earlier video saying, guess what, we're getting a spotlight. So she's thought, and she admits she's the type of girl that if she hears a rumour or has a question, she will go straight to the source, find out what the answer is, and then set it straight, set the record straight. So she rang the council and inquired, you know, is it true we're getting a spotlight? So the council rang her back and said, no, there's no application, there's no word of it happening. So she was announcing that, unfortunately, you know, this is just not going to happen. They had one in the next town. It's still a town, but it's a bigger one, in Forbes, but it burnt down. And I'd forgotten that, but as soon as she said, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Now she's in New South Wales, I'm in Queensland, but yeah, it's big news. If a spotlight burns down, that's not good. It's very, very traumatic for us girls who like our spotlights. Anyway, where I'm heading with the story is she started talking about what you can do with copyright. And she had many years ago was making Disney pants or pajamas for kids. See, that's what I mean. This girl, she has got a crafting repertoire of skills that is just amazing. She'd bought Disney fabric, and she mentioned she was at TAFE, so not sure what she was studying. She may have studied, you know, drafting dressmaking. I'm not sure. I'll have to go to the source and clarify. But the teacher said to her at TAFE, you cannot make and sell Disney items. And she was like so disappointed because she had this fabric and she was making little shorts or something. So she thought she'll go straight to Disney. Now, Disney have a group of lawyers to represent them here in Australia, which you can reach out to. And of course, Sonia did. So she has contacted them and they said, you can make your shorts out of the Disney fabric that you've purchased from Spotlight, because they sell licensed fabrics. You can sell those shorts, but when you describe your shorts to the customer, you cannot say the word Disney. You can say shorts made from a gorgeous print, but you cannot say Disney. Because if you say Disney, you're leading the customer, which, you know, is not the case. You're leading the customer. Their concern is you're leading the customer to think that Disney themselves have made those shorts. Therefore, when they get the shorts and realise that Sonia had made the shorts, not Disney, they may get upset. So Disney is protecting their, what do you say, their intellectual design elements. So everyone can make shorts and you can buy your Disney fabric and you can make them, but when you create your description, you cannot refer to the word Disney anywhere. It's just a pretty little design with a mouse, you know. So I thought that was really interesting. And then she went on to say that she's trying to track down a Daphne's Diary magazine. She must have watched someone that had made a journal using it. I think I do recall something about that. And then she said, which brings in the debate that she often sees play out on Facebook pages, that you can't sell a journal made with Daphne's diaries. And once again, she went to the source, and you can, but like Disney, when you do your description of your Daphne Diary journal that you've made, you cannot use those words. You can say journal for sale in the colours of blue and pink, and that's it. So if you do a flip through and then list it, you cannot say those words. So I thought that was really interesting, because I had thought for ages that you just couldn't sell them. You could make them, but you can't sell them. Well, Sonia's gone to the source and clarified that as well. And it applies to Edith Holden. So if you are making an Edith Holden journal or ephemera, you cannot use the word Edith Holden. It is copyrighted, just like Daphne's Diaries and Mickey Mouse. So there you go. Clarity, and from someone who would know, and also someone who's not afraid to actually go and ask the question of the folks involved. Now, I've mentioned 3 brands there. It may not apply to others. Like, she pulled up off of her table 45 Graphic 45, which is a brand of scrapbook paper. And she said other companies, even napkin companies, may not even allow you to do what we just talked about. So she said, you must just go to the source, ask the question, clarify, and then you're okay. And she said she sees things all the time on Etsy where they say Disney or Edith Holden ephemera or Daphne's Diary, all the time. And she knows that those 3 in particular, I'm sure she's probably researched more, because it sounds like she's the type of girl that will do that, which is, yeah, really good, I reckon, because some of us just don't have the time, and suddenly you're in a situation where you want to, you know, sell something and you're a bit unsure, and you ask a Facebook group, and I can assure you some of the things I see on some of the groups are just wrong. So you need to go to the source. That's, I guess, my question or my comment, which, you know, doesn't it apply to everything? Yeah, you just hear so many rumours all the time, especially of businesses coming to town. Go to the source, send them an email. It's so much easier to contact companies these days because there's a contact us page on their website. Just shoot them a quick email and say, hey, I've heard a rumour. Are you doing whatever it is you heard? Rumours, Facebook is just full of them. I'm part of some community Facebook pages for our area. And it's a classic. You just see so much rubbish. And if you go and comment, and I don't anymore because I soon learnt, probably within the first few months of having a Facebook account, that if you do start commenting on things, you just get jumped on, because there's people out there that just have to set you straight, and sometimes they're just wrong, but they're so bombastic about it, just makes you feel angry, and I want to go in harder and try and prove my point, but I can't even see their face, so I don't know if they're just taking the mickey and stirring me up, and I can't see their face, so I wouldn't know. And meanwhile, I'm the one sitting at home by myself, you know, getting all worked up. So that goes for any social media. Just don't comment. Or if you do know your facts, like you are a lawyer for Disney, well, then say something. But then, even then, I don't think they do. I think they just sit back, watch all of us flounder around. There's my cover done for that particular journal. That's lovely. Now, what will I do on the inside? Will I put fabric or will I use paper? I don't know. I think it's a decision for another day. It's just, I'm not 100% sure. And if you're not 100% sure, stop. I do like it. And I like how it's going to freshen up the page. And I like how it picks up the colour of the paper. So it's definitely, when this journal opens, it's going to be quite fresh. It'll be moody on the outside and fresh on the inside. So I think it will end up being on there, but we'll come to that. I did grab out some laces that I thought might be of use to us. This little piece I've had for a little while. It's like a snippet from something that sort of feels like it could be incorporated into one of these journals. It's sort of, I don't know. So that one I grabbed. This is a crocheted lace that I've had for a little while, and I often use as a little pocket or a side tuck. So that's got potential. What else have I got? This is just an edge off of a doily. So I've taken all of the motifs out of it. So there's a crocheted piece there that has also potential. Then I just picked up this doily. It's too big to put on a journal. I can't see me stitching it into anything. It's man-made in mass production. So I'm more than happy to chop it up. But what it does have is some nice floral pieces in it. So I'm thinking some of this could be used in some of these journals. So I put that in the little maybe to be used. And then I've got this one as well. And I've picked ones at the moment that are quite wide. The narrower laces will come at a later date because they're more for trims on pages and just little details around the place. Or if you're creating something of a feature on the front of a journal, you might just want a little bit of lace to pop in around. So at the moment I've kept my lace choice quite wide because we're sort of building up to the detail. So I'll just put that to one side as well. Are we going to use this, or do I have some paper that might be better? I'm gonna leave it because I haven't yet dug into the scrapbook paper, and they're going to be wrapped around the signatures. Potentially could go here with some lace over the pocket. So I think when I match the paper to this, that sort of pulls it all together, that's when I'll decide whether there's going to actually be any more fabric involved in the actual journal cover. So I'm just going to sit that one aside, and let's have a look at the second cover. Let's get this one sorted. Once again, same principle. Glue and stick. So yeah, if you want to listen to Sonia's video, go have a little look. She does all sorts of things. Every video of hers is just completely different, and then within a month or so she'll pull together a journal that has all these little elements that you've been watching her make. Her craft room, oh boy, that is something. She has got, if you can name it, she'll have it. She may not know where it is, but she will have it. She's been in the process the last 6 months organising things, and it's been quite funny because we're all been there. We've all got to a point where it's just time to stop and empty it onto the floor and start organising. Because you find you start buying doubles of things. That's what happened with that book that I mentioned in the first couple videos. 2 of them arrived. Now, if I had my books organised in a bookcase and not in 3 different locations, I could have just glanced at that bookcase when I was clicky drop into shopping basket mode and known that I don't need it. Now this is going to be interesting to get the birds. Yeah, that's good. Just beautiful, this fabric. Oh. At least now I can get some of that Tim Holtz scrapbook paper out that I've been hoarding and use it. Use it or lose it. That's what my doctor said to me. Use it or lose it. So we were referring to walking, exercise, getting up from your craft desk and doing some stretching, or just go outside and walk around your house. Just move. Use it or lose it, she said. Because the more you do the one activity in the one position, all of those other abilities just start fading away. I'd like to think I'm still a spring chicken. I'm 50. So I'd like to think I'm halfway through my life, because I've always said I was going to make it to 100. So on my 50th birthday, I was like, I'm halfway. I'm going to go around that little bird cage. Won't matter because I can disguise the fact when I cover it. But now I've got a cute little bird cage. Shame I chopped him. Doesn't matter. So yeah, when I turned 50, which was in May, it was, yay, I'm halfway. And everyone was like, what? I'm like, yeah, halfway. If you look at it like that, it's exciting because you're only halfway. So, yes, my story, and I'm telling it. And the doctor said, get up and move, because soon you will start stiffening up and things that used to bend won't bend. So get up and move. I thought that was great. Lose it or move it. Move it or lose it. So I've already got the saying wrong. So as you can see, this is a really simple way to cover your journals. Just snip that little bit out. Stop before you get to the folded edge. And that encases it beautifully, gives you a nice sharp turn. Might as well chop them all, hey? Really been looking forward to making this series of videos. Maybe I have to make more covers. I've got plenty of papers. If I make lots of covers, then, you know, it'll be lots of fun. Like, I like making ephemera, I do. And some days that's all I feel like doing, is just making ephemera, popping it in my little box, and it'll be used one day on something. But I don't know if it's because the space you're working in is so small. I much prefer the covers because you've got a bigger area to sort of play with. I'm going to do this side as well while I've got the art glitter glue in my hands. Whoops. So this one was the Edith Holden book, I think. Has that got green anywhere? Yeah, no, this is the Edith Holden book itself being covered here. Okay, that's good. Put my little stopper back in. So today's Sunday. We're still in July. And as I said, if I can get a few videos made, I can then just sprinkle them in amongst my Journal of Stitchery videos. And if it's not your thing, well, that's fine. You don't need to watch if you're more a stitcher than a journal maker. But I do plan on doing embroidery in amongst all of this as well. So I won't be able to help myself. Like I said, I'm probably more interested in needlework side of things. I've made a lot of journals in my time. Not that I've been doing it long, like I sound like an old girl. I've made a lot of journals. Have to be over 100 now. And sold a few, and the rest were orders for family members, or if there was a 21st or something like that, I sort of tend to give a journal. So I'm not journaled out, but I need it to have a twist to it now, like the study of something. So then I read the book connected, or, you know, understand where the author or the artist came from, that type of journaling now, instead of just sort of random stuff. Okay, so that one's done. Oh, look at that. Just gorgeous. It's just an image in itself. The challenge will be what we add to this page, because it's art in itself. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where I go with this. I'm liking that they're to the side here, because I can do some tabs and make all that very decorative, I think. So that one will be a good one. All right, let's get this one covered. once again, I don't know what's going to go on the inside of these yet. It'll be a case of either fabric or scrapbook paper or even an Edith Holden page. There's so many beautiful pages there in their entirety. These bigger books is a perfect opportunity to actually use an Edith page. But at the moment, I just want to get my base fabrics on, and that will then start me on a thinking about my colour scheme and where I'm actually heading with this particular journal cover. Okay. Now, I do have some bird cages on that side. That'd be good if I could save them, but I don't think it's going to happen. Whoops, a bit crooked. Lovely. Let's just trim it. So today, like I said, is Sunday. I've got nothing planned the whole day in my craft room. I got Saturday, yesterday, I got 3 videos made, but I also spent a lot of time preparing all the resources for you guys to view. So in the description box below, you'll start to notice that there's quite a lot of information there in the way of the digital kits that I'm using or planning to use. I've listed all the books. I've even added Mouse Mansion down the very bottom. So if you wanted to go and have a look at the story of Mouse Mansion, which I referred to in the last video, it was Amsterdam, where this lady worked on the Mouse Mansion, and it wasn't 6 years, it was 3 years. And it is now part of quite a large franchise movement. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you just found my channel, go back 1 video and I'll tell you all about my Mouse Mansion ideas. So yeah, it's quite an industry. The 2 lead mice have had storybooks and TV shows, and yeah, a whole plethora of stuff built around this. And I think the adult kids of this lady who created the mansion have really taken her original book to a whole new level, which is really lovely. And they've created quite a cult following to do with Mouse Mansion. There's Bandit barking. Such a happy little dog. He's had his breakfast and now he's playing and trying to encourage Pepper to play with him. She's probably already sick of him. Okay, just cleaning my fingers. I've got glue everywhere. And I want to pick up my sewing fabric scissors. This one's going to be a tight turn. Didn't give myself much there but it'll be fine. How are we going for time? Oh, goodness. So it takes time, doesn't it? We're nearly coming up to our magic hour. So I'm only going to get these 2 done. So, but that's all good. I am sitting here with all my bits and pieces around me, so I will just stop the video and start afresh. So it'll be the next episode will be working on the bag journals. Let's get this. And I might need to go out and have a chat to young Bandit and say, listen here, Woofy, stop being so woofy. Oh, he's getting cute. He's starting to become a young adult dog now. And his body is changing. The other was last night. I was looking at him. We get him in for an evening, and when we're watching TV, and it's sort of just before my bedtime, and they've had probably a couple hours sleep, and their room, oh, they're not their room, their area, it's a patio that I've fenced in with temporary fencing, so at night they're secure, can't get up to mischief. that all came about because Pepper was a hunter through the night when she was a pup, and she was gathering green frogs. And I'd grab these green frogs and put them out the front of the house. The next night she'd have another one and another one. We probably went through, 10, 15 frogs. And I'd see she'd be asleep and Pepper would have a green frog sitting on her shoulder or her back or just on the top of a bed. And oh, the poor frogs, I really felt for them. So I decided that she needed to be locked up at night. And that way I knew frogs were safe, plus her, because who knows what she was getting up to. Now that I found out she's a bit of an escape artist, I'm sort of pleased we have that routine. So they go into their area, which is, a large patio that I've just got some big fence panels and zip tied them together so that they are sturdy, and they've got an area they can go to the toilet and then back under cover, quite a large area where they can sit and be safe. So, yeah, I get them in of an evening and we do a bit of doggy training. And they love it. We have a cuddle and make sure they're all good, check them for any ticks or anything like that. So it's a chance for me to get my hands on them. And then do, like I said, a bit of training, just basic stuff, but they're not, well, my skill level's pretty basic. So therefore my dog's always got basic, but it's good. Sit and drop and stay and, that's it. We don't do shake, paw and roll over and all that. But, yeah, so I noticed that his snout had grown. Like the last couple of weeks, he, things are changing. Like you look at him and it's suddenly his snout is an inch longer. He's just developed this long nose. And then you look at him from behind and it's like his back legs have lifted an inch higher than the front of him. And then a week later, the front comes up. And I'm noticing too, his puppy fur was the one length, but now around his chest and his shoulders, because the Australian Shepherd gets a mane, like a lion, especially the male. I'm noticing that in that puppy fur that was, say, so thick, there's all these little fibrousy little furs. They feel a little bit different to the puppy fur, starting to come out. So it's thickening up with his actual coat that he's going to have as an adult dog. So he'll either lose his puppy fur and it'll be gone forever, and he'll be like Pepper with a finer coat, but, still that fluffy Aussie. Or he'll be like my previous male who had that double coat. So that soft, gorgeous fluff, like duck down, will stay to some degree and come and go as the seasons change, but it'll be underneath his main coat. So we're just not sure yet if he will have a double coat. I love double coats on dogs, but I really felt for Paul Bentley. Summer in Queensland is, pretty hot, but, at the end of the day, they're designed to handle it. But just looking on from the distance, I sort of felt like it was a bit tough. So I hope he doesn't have that double coat. Look at that. Just, oh, beautiful. So yeah, my puppy dog is growing up fast. Okay guys, I'm going to stop the video there and leave it at that for this video, and I will start it again and just work on the next 2 journal covers. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.